Hello everyone, welcome back to the Stupid Juice channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is a proper world tour of Dementia Craft. So I did do a video on it a little while back when the server hit around 10,000 days. That video really didn't explain anything about the server, or nor did it do a proper full tour. And since then a lot has changed, and I've really been meaning to do this since I released that first video. But I just haven't got around to it until now. And I mean, nowadays I very rarely play on the server, to be honest. If we look at the timeline, as you can see, once every couple of days I'll log on for a very short period of time just to have a look around, see what's happened. But I really don't play much anymore. But yeah, this server was started by AJ Simpson, the GOAT, our original Dementia Crafter. He started this server. Gosh, it must be it's been over a year. The anniversary, I think, was like 2 months ago, so it's like a year and 2 months. And to begin with, it was super active. I joined, I remember this, oh my god, I joined 12 hours after the link was released. And initially, what I first did on the server was I built this tower here. So I joined the server. I thought, there's no builds at 0-0. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a big ass tower to just to be a giant, like, fuck you big ass tower, you know. And yeah, this place used to be my home. It used to be a lot more cramped than this. A lot recently. Well, not recently. It got expanded and dug out to be a bit more of a more giant cavern. And one of the things I'm kind of sad about in this world is this underground kind of village here. This, I thought, was so cool when I first joined the server, because it had just a little hut up there that you'd go into, and you just come down to this cool little underground area. Live, love, you know. It was a nice homely place. But what was really sad is it got blocked over, and there's no entrance into here anymore other than through the spawn tower. And also the places over here, there's tons of different little builds and things. It's like a little maze. But unfortunately, as you can see, a lot of this stuff, I believe a wither was spawned in here, so a lot of this stuff got damaged pretty extensively. It takes away a lot from what this place used to feel like. That aside, let's go back up to the surface and talk about some other things. So, crafting table here. This is one of the OG builds. There's, I think, I will say 4 builds that I count as OG builds. That is an honorable mention. It was kind of an OG build, the 69 Mountainers. But really, the OG build, this is the first one. It did not used to look like this. You can probably go back and see what it looked like in his initial video. But it did not look like this. I came through and I really repaired and made it look so much better. But that's one of the OG builds. Back in the early days, that was probably one of the main community, like, hotspots. I didn't know it at the time, but this was like, there was like a rivalry going on between like the anarchists and the it was the anti-establishment and the government, and that was the like, oh, where is it? What the hell? Wait, what? Am I tripping? I went through here. Yeah, this building. So it was kind of like the it was like the government building. And then this build, this was probably the newest of builds that I would call OG. But I was quite mad because I built my tower, and you might notice on the side here, where I was at the start, there's a couple blocks missing there, and you might also notice that they just so happen to be diorite. And crafting table here just so happens to use diorite, and it just so happened to crop up right about the time that went missing. But I remember being quite mad about that. I was a bit pissed. I used to hate the crafting table, and then it got burnt down and practically destroyed, and I came through and I restored it to its glory. And then there's one other build, the castle. So there's two castles. This is the OG castle. It used to just have this bridge across, and then eventually someone built the secondary castle. But this has been here since I first logged on. So this was built sometime in between the video's release and the first time I logged on. But it is, yeah, it's one of the very first builds on the server. So those are the OG builds in Spawn. And then all of this other stuff, the Sky People, they were kind of OG, but I think it was kind of a couple days for them to form. And all the rest of this other stuff is a bit, I mean, it's obviously not recent, but it was like past day 30 or something. This is the spawn of Dementia Craft. You might notice there is a lava cast right over there. We did destroy most of it. And there used to be one over this building, which I made. Like, it's the Pumpkin Palace. It used to have a giant lava cast over it, but we went through, got a whole bunch of people actually to help out destroying it completely, and gathered a bunch of cobblestone off of that. Spawn here is probably the most developed location. There's lots of very small builds all over the place, lots of big development, such as this used to be a lake, if you can tell by the river coming in. And I just completely covered it in slabs. And then you might be wondering why there's so many crafting tables. Well, that's Sharky's thing. For some reason, just loves to spam crafting tables. A lot of Spawn is just crafting table, which it's just a bit stupid, but it's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm just gonna fly over to kind of the next most built up area, and then from there I would just show like my other bases, because I think I have about like 5 different bases on the server. I was constantly moving about because it's like each location I built a house, and then I kind of got bored because I was either on my own or the people who were there kind of quit, or I died and it was far out and I didn't want to make the journey back. The second most populated place has this ice path connecting it from Spawn, and the gateway, I built that. There's a lot of stuff here that I built, but this is kind of the community area. This is Zyplexia. This is the main area of Zyplexia. Back when this place first started, it was just a regular, just like Spruce Village, and then I came along and I built my mansion, probably my biggest build on the server to this day. But anyway, this place is just like a little community. Most people who still play now kind of reside here. And yeah, Zyplexia. Alright, and then there is a few other locations I do want to visit. So after I made my base here, and this was after I'd made, this was my 4th base. My first one was that spawn tower. My second one was my 10k heaven, which I'll show at the end of the video. And if you have seen the other Dementia Craft video, then you will have seen it. It's the place where I activated the machine. But this space, well, this space was also seen in the other Dementia Craft video. And this will be, it's my 4th base, and I think I'll just cut to when I get there. Okay, so just past this mountain here is the base. A lot smaller than my mansion, but I kind of wanted this place to be a bit more of like another heaven. So my 10k base, the idea with that place was, it was for a bunch of players to go and, you know, get a start in the game from doing stuff there. But this base, the idea with this one is not that. The idea with this one is for myself to have a base where there's everything that I personally need as a more like advanced player, because the 10k base, that had crops, animals, tree farms, but it didn't really have anything that you couldn't just, you know, make from scratch in an hour. And I guess this doesn't either, but this one has massive sugar cane, because obviously for fireworks. It's got the XP farm, which is still the only good one that I have on the server. And then it's got this base that I made. I keep thinking each time I make a new base that, oh, this will be my home for a while, for a long time. But I usually just end up going somewhere else. And I mean, there is kind of a reason in this case why I decided to go somewhere else, because I actually did a lot more here. There was at one point that an entire week of progress on the server was wiped, and in that time over there I built a fucking Dyson sphere, which I will show you guys the screenshot of just right now. But yeah, here it is. Here's the screenshot. So, giant ass sphere. I'm kind of almost glad that it got wiped in a way, because I messed up the circles, but it was still a lot of work. I had to get all the cobble and everything. And that was my initial plan for the Dementia Craft video. And that wasn't the only thing I did. What I also did was this path. I dug it all the way through this way, but instead of it going, you know, up over the mountain and then kind of thinning out and winding around on landscape and everything, it used to actually just tunnel straight through the mountain, a 5x5 tunnel through the mountain, all the way over this way, past these mountains. I spent a lot of time. That's where I got all the cobble for the Dyson sphere. And I went all the way through this mountain. I used to have the path going over through this valley, which this valley is pretty cool. So I went past all the way over here to about here. I exited out of this side of the mountain, and then I did start to run out of like cobble and things. And I was like, oh. But I did actually have at least a 1 block line. So I just noticed this village is super fucked up. What the hell? The path did reach all the way over to like 3000 over here, and then it reached all the way that way, connected back up to Zyplexia. But all that got wiped, unfortunately, because the server got rolled back. And I won't tell you why. I won't. The person who caused it, they know who they are. Nah, but I honestly, I feel like it was for the better. The winding path is, I think, a bit more like cinematic. It's a bit nicer, to be honest. But after that base, which is kind of at 10k really, I decided to start a new base, which is over this way. I wanted to kind of return to my roots, because I said earlier, when I first logged on, I made that tower, and that's what I did first. That was a lie. That was not what I did first. What I did first was, I went and I kind of tried to speed run the game a bit, and I ran in this direction, off rip. And eventually, I came across a land with a quaint little village, and I spent just a night there. But I always remembered that village from there on out. And so I decided to set up a new base over here on this island village. yeah, that's basically been my home the past 2,000 days. As you can see, I've got this lighthouse here. I've got a little micro sugarcane farm. This never produces enough for like any usable quantity. I usually just go back to my old base if I want sugarcane because I don't want to build a giant ugly farm. I set up all the lights, got a little bit of bamboo, got the beehives here. I really like this setup with the trapdoors. And then the village over here. So most of these buildings here are original. Oh, and I have a little map of the place. It kind of looks like a slug, you know? Like, that's the body, and then that's the little, like, slug antenna things. I don't know. But, there are still some artifacts here from my first time. From my days when I first came here. Because after I left this place, it's shocking. Because this is only like 4,000 total. Oh no, 3,500 blocks out. But the place was untouched when I came here. Nobody touched this place, and one of the reasons I know that is because I fell in this hole, and I just used these spruce logs to tower out. And another thing is, in this blacksmith, I still have the original mine from the like day I spent here, and some of the original loot I left in that chest. And so I've left that stuff untouched. But most of this village I have changed really drastically. So essentially, like half of the buildings here are not obviously villager buildings, and even some of the ones that appear to be original villager houses, like this one, for example, I actually just perfectly recreated it as like a copy, because I had this one here. This is the only real one. Oh wait, no. Oh, it's the other way around. I even forgot. This one was the copy. This was the original. But yeah, I did that with a couple different buildings. But most of the ones I did build down here, my like custom one. This is like the homeless shelter, I guess, or like community living. Over here is the librarians, and I kind of thought an interesting thing to do would be to put different books that I've written down for each lectern that has a villager trade that I've locked in. I want to show you the mine over here, which is this build, apart from the lighthouse, is the most obvious. Like, this is not a natural spawning build, but this one was the first build actually that I built here. I wanted a really cool mine, and the kind of design for this, I took some inspiration from somewhere. I don't remember where, but basically I wanted to do something interesting with the mine, where I have like a distinct layer for each different ore type. So this is the coal layer. Mining at Y60 is best for coal. And then if we go down the steps, this is the copper layer. This is the best layer for copper. As you can see, there's already copper. And this one's really cool because it has some sunlight access. Annoyingly, a creeper did drop down here, which is why I have this like fence gate there to stop any mobs being able to fall into here. But this was natural, just kind of the water dripping down. Makes it a super cool kind of build. Then you drop down here into a big open cave, which I've mostly lit this cave up, but oh, and yeah, this is also interesting features of a messed up world. But essentially you drop in here, and then you go down the steps here, and then you're at the iron layer, Y15. And then from here you drop down even lower. You're just into deep slate. This is the lapis layer, and then it's a little bit more. And then down here you're at, which one? This is gold, right? Yep, gold layer. And then finally you drop down all the way to the diamond layer, which is the ugliest one. I'm not gonna bother going all the way down there. And so that's the mine, and then there's one other super like epic build. This is something that I need to do on my like main world, because it's just kind of a sick thing to have. And I'm kind of surprised because on my main world, I don't even have like a smaller version of this thing. And obviously I'm not explaining it because I'm just gonna run over there. And so you might be wondering, what is this thing? Well, let me just get over here. And oh, what's this? Giant wall of iron. And there's a lever, I wonder. Oh, 5x5 piston door leading into my giant ass vault. That's what I was saying. I do not have any kind of piston door in like my long-term world. But yeah, 5x5 piston door. It's pretty satisfying, and it's kind of funny that it uses like shulker boxes. It didn't have to. I could have used glazed terracotta, but I was just like, hey, I'm gonna go that extra mile to make it look just a tiny bit nicer. But yeah, that's the 5x5 piston door, and that is kind of all there is to this area. What I do now want to do is show you guys heaven, which if I go into the OG cave in here, I actually spent a night in here. The first few days of the server, I ran all the way down and hid in this cave, waiting for daybreak. Oh, and the sign I left at day 11k. But anyway, we'll go to the nether, and I'll cut back when I'm at heaven. And here we are, we're at my heaven. So this was in the original Dementia Craft video. I haven't still gone and fixed this place up fully. As you can see, got all the chickens, cows, pigs, sheep, different crops. It's really got like everything you need. And what is this? Don't know when this got here. It is a bit annoying because in here there used to be a bunch more signs, but the place got griefed quite extensively, and a lot of them were lost. But yeah, that's kind of most of what there is to see, at least that I know of. There's probably a bunch of places, little places, that are just so spread out that there's just no way I'd be able to, you know, find them all. So yeah, that is it for today as we fly away from heaven. I'll see everyone next episode.